All right. Start. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Okay, so we're coming back to our text. I'll just review a little bit since last week we were speaking about Deepavali. We're on verse number 7. So this is, I think, my page 16 should be about that for you as well. I'll read this verse and if you can repeat after me. Manah shuddhikaraniha sadhanani vadantiha Yagnyodanam tapashchaiva Japastirtham vratastatha. Let's read it together. Manashuddhikaraniha sadhanani vadantiha Yagnyodanam tapashchaiva Japastirtham vratastatha. So here in this verse we were talking about ways to purify our mind, because the mind is such a great tool for the realization of the self, right? We need the mind to realize the self. We need the mind to realize who we are. And we discussed yajna, dana, tapa, japa, tirtha, vrata. The first one we talked about was tapa or austerity, meaning living a life of self-control or self-mastery, being able to conserve our energy for greater things. So being able to tame down our senses and mind and conserve so much energy that we can then use it for yajna. Yajna means selfless, dedicated service. All of that energy is to be used to serve the greater good, serve the community, serve the country, serve the world. And it doesn't mean that we have to change our jobs, change our positions. We don't have to do any of that necessarily. What we have to do is change our attitude. Instead of just working for our own selfish pursuits, just change the direction. Whatever I'm doing, may it benefit other people positively. May it help society grow. May it comfort people's hearts, right? So change the attitude. That's all I have to do. It can be raising children. Instead of, I want this child to be really good at soccer, have good grades, get into a good college. This is not yajna. This is absolute selfishness. May I raise this child to be the best that they can possibly be in this world. Right? They don't have to do the things that I want them to do. They don't have to go to the school that I want them to go to. But may this child be the best that they can be and positively contribute to the world at large. And if I have raised my child to that extent, that's such a wonderful thing. Or in my company that I'm working, I don't have to get into the top position. I don't have to make the most money. But have I contributed in a way which makes a great difference to people's lives? Have I contributed an idea, a project? Have I worked for something that has done that? That is called yajna. Then we talked about dana or charity. When we engage in selfless work, naturally we do get a reward back. Be it that our skill is polished, is sharpened, or be it that we get some monetary gains, or be it that we get some time on our hands. What should we do? Give it back, in the sense for charity. Give it back to charity. Let other people also benefit. Now, how much in Deepavali, I'm sure we all got lots of things. Now, how much mithai can we eat? How much money can we store? How many clothes can we hoard? Charity is a way for us to give back all of these things to the community so that they can also benefit. If we keep everything to ourselves, it'll just rot and waste. And it's the same for subtler things like talent. If we just keep our talents and our abilities to ourselves, it'll just rot. It'll just get wasted. I have the ability to sing. Good, share it. I have the ability to plan, to organize. Good, do it for the community. I have the ability to listen, to counsel. Do it. Otherwise, all of our abilities will just get lost and nobody will benefit. So, dana means charity, the ability to give back in whatever way we can. Then we saw japa. Japa is that beautiful tool to cultivate focus in the mind. And we saw what this practice means. It means taking up a name of Bhagavan or Bhagavati and a mantra or a mantra and chanting that constantly. And this chanting, what it does, it changes not only the quantity of my thoughts, because my thoughts are much slower, and I'm thinking of less things. It changes the quality of my thoughts. It uplifts my thoughts and it turns my thoughts inward. So it's a very great spiritual practice to keep us focused. In Deepavali, I'd given some of you Likita Japa, right? I think you've all gotten that. That's a very awesome way to write love letters to Bhagavan. Every day, if we can just write a page and stay completely focused as we write, that is also one form of japa. That builds the concentration of our mind. Then we saw tirtha. Tirtha means going to holy pilgrimages or visiting saints and sages, or even manasik tirtha in the mind. So when we visit these sacred places, it's not just about going there and coming back. The whole journey is to be of tirtha, where we're constantly thinking of the divine. So it's different from traveling. When we travel, we go here and there, we make so many plans, we pack so much stuff, we eat so many things, and we get so tired. Tirtha is when we pack less, have less to do. The only being that we're meeting is Bhagavan. We're not concerned about anybody else. At Tirtha, we're normally not feasting, we're fasting. And we're not looking to make any relationships, build relationships with anyone except God. And when this relationship is strengthened with God, all other relationships get strengthened. So Tirtha is the way of connecting to that divine through a pilgrimage. Some people do a padayatra. So some people walk, they walk for miles and miles doing their japa. Some people do a parikrama. In Arunachala, they do a parikrama on the hill, around the hill, or in Narmada River, they do a parikrama around Narmada River. Or some people go for Chardham Yatra. I'm sure you've heard of all of these things, right? So Tirtha, and of course meeting great saints and sages is also Tirtha. Now we left off in Vrata. Vrata means a vow. So in our culture, this is very special because we take these vows. Like today, I made them take, everybody actually, all of us, including me, we all took a vow, right? We all took a vow that for 30 days, stop complaining and start thanking for 30 days. So nobody here can complain about anything. Hmm? Now, why is a vow so important? Because it makes our intellect win over the mind. There are many times we want to break a vow. Many times, let us say we plan for 30 days, I'm going to wake up early. Huh? And there's many times we only want to break the vow. I don't want to get up. I don't feel like getting up. I don't want to do it. But something inside will say, no, we made a vow, we made a vow, we made a vow, we have to stick to it. So when there's a vow, there's a formality to it. That's why we do it. There's a formality to it. And so, it makes us stick to it. And every time we remember the vow, we remember, I have to stick to it. So like this 30 days that we're doing, every time we feel like complaining, we remember, we made a vow. We have to stick to it. So it's a way for our intellect to win over our mind and to build our willpower. Because when our willpower is very strong, then anything is possible. So we have in our culture very simple vratas like Ekadashi Vrata, where people fast for Ekadashi or eat a certain type of food. Or they have a Vrata of Shivaratri where they stay up the whole entire night, right? You win, you let your intellect win above your mind and senses. Or people have some vratas of daily spiritual practices where they won't talk to anyone until they've finished all of their prayers, or they won't eat a single grain until they've finished all of their prayers. And that keeps them so steady and so strong. So when we're able to stick to this vow, then our willpower builds and builds and builds. Then we get that satyata. Satyata means whatever we say, we will do. There are some people that there are some people we can relax. When they say they'll do it, we're very relaxed. Yeah, for sure it will be done, no doubt. But when other people say, I'll do it, we're very antsy. Will they do it? We have to keep checking on it. Did they do it? Are they doing it? We have to keep checking and checking. Because there's no satyata. There's no truthfulness to that person. When a person takes up their vows and they live by their vows and follow their vows, there's a truthfulness to it. And so they become quite reliable and they're able to accomplish many things. Because once they say, means it's done. It's already done. So this is called vrata. Now the question might come as to, are we supposed to break vows, or can we break vows? Can we break vows? So we can, if it interferes with dharma, then it is okay to let it go. For example, somebody has taken a vow of silence, right? For 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they will not talk, won't talk. But let us say now they are walking in the street and in front of them they see somebody being harmed. They see someone being harmed. Now, then, and if that person has the ability to do something, has the ability to stand up, then they should stand up, right? So if it comes in conflict with dharma, then it is okay to let that go. But only if it comes in conflict with dharma. If it does not come in conflict with dharma, then we should stick to the vow absolutely no matter what. The marriage is also a vow. Marriage is also a vow. It's a formal vow. That should not be broken. But if it comes in conflict with dharma, overall dharma of the household, then it can be broken. But only if, right? So when we take these vows, the idea is to stick with them as far, as deep as possible. Another question may come that I have taken a vow, let us say, I've taken a vow that every day I will do a certain prayer. But one day I forgot. What do? I've taken that vow, but one day I forgot. We take up what is called prayashchitta. Prayashchitta means atonement. So means I have to do that twice. So let us say every day I've taken a vow to do a certain amount of japa. Every day, let's say 3 rounds of japa. One day I completely forgot, it just missed me, or I had some family emergency or something like that. I couldn't do it. So then I have to do it 6 times the next day. Atone for it. Or we can say, okay, I'll miss the next meal and I'll just focus on my japa practice. We have to find some way to make up for it. We can't just say, oh, it's okay, never mind. No. We have to take up a prayashchitta so that we recognize that I missed, I slipped it, and this is how I made up for it. And that will also remove the guilt. Otherwise, we will have this guilty feeling that I didn't do it properly. So therefore, that is vrata. So what is vrata? It is a vow. It is a commitment. Different types of vrata I have shared with you also, like Ekadashi, Shivaratri, or one's own personal vrata. Can the vow be broken? Only in special circumstances when it interferes with dharma. If I myself break it because of some reason or the other, I have to atone for it. I can't just let it go. And this practice is done to build our willpower. Okay. So now that we've seen all 6 ways to purify the mind, we're going to see the greatest way to purify the mind. Okay. There is still one great way, really great way that far surpasses all of this, that will purify the mind. What is that? Now coming to verse number 8. Vichara sadhanam shreshtam varnyate trayathamati mahatvam tasya vai proktam Krishnena swayameva hi. Vichara sadhanam shreshtam varnyate trayathamati mahatvam tasya vai proktam Krishnena swayameva hi. All right. So this we are on verse number 8. It says here vicharaha. Vicharaha means inquiry. Sadhanam shreshtam is the best means. Varnyate atra, it is described here yathamati, as per my understanding. Mahatvam tasya ve proktam. Mahatvam, its greatness, the greatness of it, tasya proktam, was spoken Krishnena swayam evahi, by Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. So inquiry is the best means to purify the mind. It is being expounded here as per my understanding. Indeed, Lord Krishna himself has spoken of its greatness. So first let's think about what inquiry is. It's also called vichara. Okay. So we have those ways to purify our mind. We saw japa, tirtha, vrata, vow, yajna, service, all of that, tapas, dana. We have all of these means. They are what we call parampara sadhana. They are secondary means to purify. But they are also important because they prepare us for the primary means to purify. And the primary means is vichara. Vichara means inquiring into who I am. This is the most purest way to purify that mind, because this is actually going beyond the mind, right? So let us look into this vichara now. So all of you can see this? Yes? Yeah? If you can't see for some reason, you are more than welcome to come forward. That's okay, right? It's important that you see this, okay? Now, how many of you have seen this chart before? Okay, yeah, I've spoken about it before, right? So this is what we call the BMI chart. It doesn't mean body mind, body mass index. It's body mind intellect, BMI chart. This device was conceived by Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmaya ji when he wanted to teach people about who they really were. He wanted to give a clear insight, so crystal clear into who we really are. He used this chart. So we'll start working on it. Here, the first thing you'll see is Om. We've all heard of Om so many times, right? What does Om actually mean? Om is our true nature, our real nature. And the reason why we say Om 3 times is because we understand now the first time we're going beyond the body. I'm not the body. The second time, I'm not the mind. I'm going beyond the mind. The third time, I'm going beyond the intellect. What remains is me, Om. Om is my real nature, the nature of pure existence or being, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. That is me. That is who I am, right? Now, this Om, I'm not able to sort of grasp this Om. Right? This is, when people say this to me, this is my real nature, I'm like, why? How? What? How is it even possible? So we'll start first with here. Body, mind, intellect, BMI, okay? The first introduction of ourselves is we think we are this body. We think. When we look at this, we think this is me. This is me. This height, this skin color, this face, this weight, this whole shape and form, this is me. So this body is me, but actually when we learn in our scriptures, this body is just an instrument. It's just an equipment. It's called faculty, it's called equipment, it's called instrument. You had a question, Parvati? Okay. So now how do I understand that I am different from my body? How do I understand this? First of all, this body is changing, right? When we were 5 years old, 6 years old, our bodies were very, very different. When we were teenagers, our bodies were very different. Now also our bodies are different. And in the future, our bodies will be different. But amidst the changing of the body, wasn't there something in you that recognized the changes? There was something in you that's changeless, that recognized the changes of the body. The way it changed in so many various ways and forms, you recognized it, right? You know that it's changing. So the body is changing, but I am changeless. There's something in me that's changeless. You all experience this? Yes? Next thing is, the body is seen and I am the seer. Also, I am a seer and this body is seen, means it's experienced. So this chart is seen and I am the seer, right? So if I say I am the seer, this is the seen, I am aware of this chart, I see this chart, can I be this chart? It's very odd, right? The seer becoming the seen is very odd. We've never experienced that. So I see the body, I experience the body. So can I be the body? No. I am the seer and the body is the seen. The seen. Second reason. Third reason is I am aware of my body, but my body is not aware of me. So I am conscious, but my body is what we call inert or jada. I am conscious, I am aware of my body, but my body is not aware of me. Doesn't know anything about me. And number 4 is that I speak about my body as my body. My body. Everybody says my body type. My body type. Correct? Now, whenever we say my, it means it's not I. So, this is my mic. Can it be I? This is my book. Can it be I? This is my phone. Can it be I? No. This is my body. Can it be I? No. So this body is a tool, it's an equipment, it's a faculty. So this body cannot be me. This is the first Om. Om means I am not this body. I have to remember that I am beyond this body. And when I remember this, it gives me great freedom. Because the body will have its dharma, right? Sometimes we will gain weight. Sometimes we will lose weight also. Sometimes the skin will get darker. Sometimes it will get lighter also. Sometimes we will get marks on our faces. Sometimes we won't get. When we grow older, the whole system will slow down. We won't be able to eat as much. We won't be able to walk as fast. We won't be able to do things that we normally could do. And that's okay, because that's the dharma of the body. That's not me. We become more accepting that everybody's body has to go through what it goes through, but I am different from that body. This is the vichara. Now we come to the next, which is the mind. M. Clear on the body? It must be a fact to you. As I'm saying, it must be a fact to you. This vichara is not faith-based. It's fact-based. So when we do inquiry and Vedanta, it is that deep understanding that yes, that's actually true. I actually experienced that. Now the mind. Now the mind, how we have so many thoughts in the mind, right? The psychologists say we have about 60,000 thoughts per day. 60,000. Now, if you are the mind, if you are your mind, which thought is you? Is it the happy thought or the sad one? Is it the stressed out one or the calm one? Is it the disturbed one or the patient one? Which one is you? None of them. Because they keep changing, they keep changing, they keep changing, but I am changeless. You're aware of your thoughts, are you not? The mind is the center of the thoughts of emotions, the thoughts of the nature of emotions. So all these emotions come. You're aware? When happiness comes, you're aware? You're aware that happiness is coming to you. You're aware that sadness is coming to you. We're aware of our thoughts, right? So our thoughts keep changing, but we are changeless. Yes, we're experiencing this. I am the seer and my thoughts are seen. I can see my thoughts. I can see my thoughts. I can see the different kinds of thoughts that are coming to my mind. And that's how people are able to control their mind, by the way. They stop certain thoughts from coming. I am aware of my thoughts, but my thoughts are not aware of me. I am aware of sadness, but sadness is not aware of me. I am aware of happiness, but happiness is not aware of me. I'm aware. And I also say my mind. I also say now my mind, it's moody. I feel moody. My mind is in a spin right now. I say my mind. So for all these reasons, I also cannot be that mind. That mind that keeps chattering, or even that silent mind. I cannot be that mind. I'm actually different from that mind. Huh? So the second Om now. Om transcends the mind. I'm not even that mind who I think myself to be. Then we come to that intellect. Intellect. Now the intellect is the seat of thoughts which are ideals. So the mind is the seat of thoughts which are emotions. Intellect, thoughts which are ideals. Like I have this kind of belief. I am a capitalist, or I am a socialist, or I have this kind of religion, this kind of faith. Or this is my role. I am a parent, I am a mother, I am a father, I am a this, I am a that. Our ideals, our beliefs, they're all based on the intellect. Our professions, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, I am a teacher. This is all the intellect. Now that, the same logic, that keeps on changing also. Our belief systems keep changing. Our careers keep changing. Our professions, our identity, our self-identity changes. Right? But we are changeless. I am the seer, and all of these thoughts are seen. All of these thoughts of beliefs, of roles, of career, they are seen. I am aware of these thoughts, but these thoughts are not aware of me. And I say, my ideals, my beliefs, my career, my role, means it's not I. So the third Om now is to let go of that intellect. Om. And when we begin to understand that these are just actually faculties, they're just equipments, they're just instruments. The body is that which perceives objects. It's a tool, it's an instrument that perceives objects. The mind is a tool which feels emotions, The intellect is a tool which thinks thoughts. It's a tool. But remember, all of these tools are inert. They're an object of our experience. They require consciousness. The body cannot function on its own, nor can the mind, nor can the intellect. They all require consciousness. Without consciousness, none of this can function. The mind on its own is inert. It's an object of our experience. Intellect on its own is an object of our experience. Without the illumination of consciousness, nothing can function. Now, when I identify with the body, mind, and intellect, I become what is called the perceiver, feeler, thinker. This perceiver, feeler, thinker is known as the ego. It's known as the ego. All right? So these are the instruments, these are the equipments. When I identify with them, when I take myself to be the body or the mind or the intellect, I become what is called the ego. Perceiver, feeler, thinker. In other words, I become Shubhani. Your name is who you become or you feel that you are. So I feel like I am this bundled up personality named Shubhani. That I have this kind of body, this kind of mind, this kind of intellect, and this entire thing is me. I take this entire thing to be me. That is called the ego. That's called the ego. Now, am I not the ego? Am I not this ego? Am I not Shubhani? Am I not this personality? Am I not this person? Now think again. If this was really me, then this would be me all the time. This would be me all the time, correct? In the waking state, you can clearly see me. I can see you. And I'm very much here. My personality is here. Everything about me is here. But what happens in the dream state? This whole Shubhani that you see is not even there in dream state. It's not even there. This whole personality, not even this body is there, not even this mind, not even this intellect. And what to talk of deep sleep? This whole idea of who you are, of the ego, is not there. Is your ego there in deep sleep? No, it's not there. So if something is real, shouldn't it be there all the time? If something is true, if something is real, shouldn't it be there always? But this is not there all the time. It's there in the waking state, not there in the dream state, not there in the deep sleep state. In the deep sleep state, I have no sense of Shubhani at all. No sense of this personality at all. But yet, I am there in the deep sleep state. Am I not? Something is there. What is there? That which is there in deep sleep state is that pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure being. That which can exist without any person. It can exist without any body, any mind, any personality. That is there in deep sleep. In deep sleep, do you feel any time or space? No, that's why nobody knows what time they slept, right? And when we wake up, we have to always say, oh, what time is it? In deep sleep, I exist without time. I exist without space. What a wonderful thing. I exist without a body. I exist without a mind. I exist without a family. I exist without my intellect, my personality, my career, my professional life. I exist without all of these things. I exist without time. I exist without space. I exist without the world. Now that is my true nature. That which is pure being, which we call Sat, existence, and pure awareness, which we call Chit. That's my true nature. That is Om. And that is also Ananda, pure bliss. The bliss aspect we will come to much later, but for now, you understand that Sat and understand that Chit. This is called Vichara, coming to Om. Coming to Om. We say coming Om. Instead of come home, come Om. Right? So, knowing that I'm not the body, the mind, or the intellect, knowing that I'm not the ego, perceiver, feeler, thinker that identifies with it, but understanding that I am Om. Now, the issue is that this is a very subtle thing, and it takes time to really sink in. We have to keep thinking and thinking about it. And there are what we call vasanas in us, which sort of obstruct this knowledge. And there are two kinds, right? One type is ignorance. That I don't know who I truly am, and I'm still not getting it. This itself is a vasana, right? So this itself is a vasana, is that I don't know who I am and I'm not really getting it. Even if I am listening to it, even if I am reflecting on it, I'm not really getting it. That is one side of a vasana. Another side of a vasana is these deep tendencies which obstruct us from abiding. So I know that my real nature is Om. Maybe I've understood that my real nature is Om. But I still feel like I'm the body. I still identify with my body so much that, if there's one gray hair, I go berserk. I still identify with my mind so much that if it's topsy-turvy, I also feel like that. I still identify with my ego so much that if somebody insults me or praises me, I feel down or up respectively. So the second kind of vasana is, even if I know I'm still not able to live. So one is of the nature of ignorance, that I don't know and it's not clear to me. The second layer of the vasana is I know it's clear, but I'm having a hard time expressing it in my daily living. This is what blocks us. And this is why purity of mind is required. So all of those 6 things we talked about, those 6 things, austerity, we talked about selfless dedicated service, we talked about charity, we talked about japa, we talked about pilgrimage, vows, taking a vow. All of these are to purify our minds, to remove these vasanas, so that we can be very clear that our nature is Om. And when we are clear that our nature is Om, no problem. We can express through the body, mind, and intellect. It's not that an enlightened person doesn't have a body, mind, and intellect. An enlightened person will also have a body, mind, and intellect, but the difference is they're not identifying with it. They're not identifying with it. So if something happens to the body, okay. If something happens to the mind, okay. If something happens to the intellect, okay. Whereas we strongly identify with it. And that's why we go through all of the ups and downs of these equipments. So this is called vichara. This, what we just did right now, this kind of subtle, deep thinking, inquiring, logically, but also experientially. We should feel it in our heart. Vedanta is to be felt not just here, but in our heart. That's called vichara. And it is the shreshta, it is the highest sadhana, the highest sadhana, but it takes a very subtle mind to grasp it. And this same thing is spoken by Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in several of the chapters. That we will see next time, Bhagavan Krishna's message. For now, I'll pause for a moment and see if anyone has any questions or any thoughts they want to share. Yes. Yeah, that's great. The other mic is there.
If you think about it further, in the concept of the deep sleep,
Yeah.
and take out the mind, the intellect, the body, all animate objects are seen in the deep sleep. Must be an animal. So the differentiating factor between a human and somebody else is your intellect. You can perceive emotions differently. You use body as a tool for something else. So at the core, I mean, if you take that out, that's the ultimate deep sleep state is common. So it means the deep self, the Om, is actually common.
It is common. Yeah, because deep sleep is common. In Chandogya Upanishad, it says that we attain ourselves in deep sleep. Means we are at our truest state in deep sleep, but we just are unaware of it. It's covered by tamas. Samadhi, on the other hand, is going into that same quietude with knowledge. Yeah. But yeah, that is our true being in deep sleep. Yeah. And also in waking, but it's less obvious to us in waking. Any other thoughts or questions?
Mine is slightly different. So, like recently we've been talking a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, and a lot of progress has been made. And recently I was listening to Sam Altman and a few other people. So, they're at a point where there's a real concern about sentience, about consciousness to these programs. Like maybe not now, maybe 10 years from now, 5 years from now, when we don't know. What would happen if these programs were to become conscious? Would they have the same similar sort of things as us? Like from a perspective of the seer and the seen, I mean, the guy who was at Google who kind of like sounded the alarm on this, he could, so Google built a program that translates language to language.
Right.
Now it can, it goes from like Hindi to English, French, but at some point they stopped programming it. Now the program converts languages without having any code. Like you give it a new language, and it will learn that new language without any new code being written to it. That's when the programmer who was there, he started to say that this system is sentient. So how are we, like, in a broader sense, how do we think about that, like these kind of changes in society, like, in our lives?
Right. So see, the first thing is that consciousness cannot be produced by the brain, right? Or anything. It's not produced. It is something that is ever present. So to say that AI will have consciousness, it won't have consciousness because consciousness is ever there. It's ever present. It is our real nature. And that AI is still inert. What is happening with AI is still an object of our experience, correct? It is not the ultimate seer or the ultimate experiencer. It's an object of our experience. We are aware of it. Same things. It's changing, correct? We are the seer, it is the seen. We are aware of it, right? It's an object of our experience, right? It may not be aware of us. So with this, the programming has to be very tight right now because there's so many issues with AI. So if we talk about it now from the dharmic standpoint, is that they have to tighten up what are the restrictions of AI so that they don't go over and above anybody's copyright or take other people's jobs unnecessarily, or do all of these things which are not supposed to be doing. I mean, who is at the end of the day, it's being programmed by somebody else. Then it's able to pick up. But initially, first was fed everything by somebody else, right? So they have to come up with some kind of guidelines and some kind of limitations where we can peacefully work together. I mean, it is very helpful, AI, I think, in the field of medicine and everything like that. But it has to be a set guidelines that they have to follow. Otherwise, it will get out of hand with everybody, right? Yeah. Like I think I shared this with you. I have a high school class in Long Island, and I asked them, okay, take this concept of the Bhagavad Gita, and I want you to have a discussion on it. The first thing they did was check Chat GPT. What does Chat GPT say? I said, no, I don't want to know what Chat GPT says. This is for your transformation. That's what we don't get. We just want quick information. All of us want quick information. But life is not about quick information. It's about our own transformation. It is about us thinking, us reflecting, us reading, us writing. So if we just get overloaded with a whole pile of information, what good will it do? It's just extra weight, right? So that's what we have to be very careful. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay. So just to sum up today's class, we saw Vrata, that ability to take a vow, or that taking a vow, so that the intellect rises over the mind. And we also saw that the highest way of purifying is through vichara. All the sadhanas or the spiritual practices in Advaita Vedanta are just to come to this vichara. And when we do this vichara carefully, with absolute focus, we realize that we are actually way beyond our bodies, our minds, our intellects, our personalities, and this gives us a lot of freedom and a lot of bliss in our day-to-day life, because we can truly be detached. So body will go through ups and downs, okay. Mind will go through ups and downs, okay. Intellect will go through ups and downs, okay. As long as I can always remain as myself and I know that I am that pure awareness, pure consciousness, ever untouched by what happens in these equipments. So we'll close with a short meditation. Just sit straight, keep your eyes closed. Asangoham, asangoham, asangoham punah punaha, Satchidananda Swarupoham, Ahamevahamavyayaha, Asangoham, Asangoham, Asangoham punah punaha, Satchidananda Swarupoham, Ahamevahamavyayaha. Sangoham means I am ever unattached. I am ever unattached. I am ever unattached. Again and again. I am of the nature of Sat, pure being. Chit, pure consciousness. Ananda, pure bliss. I am ever imperishable, indestructible. I am permanent and that ultimate reality, free from any taint of the body, of the mind, of the intellect. Spend a moment, silence, just to remain and feel this. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was very good. Is it publication where we can read a little bit more of what you explained?
Sure. There's this book called Self-Unfoldment.
Okay.
Self-Informant and Tattva Buddha.
Do we have it here?
We don't have it here, but I can give you the website.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Do you want me to write it for you?
Sure.
Okay.
So it's about 7-8 years now we've been going through the Bhagavad Gita.
So you were studying the Bhagavad Gita?
Not from a religious standpoint. We had a Guruji